Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Free Abundance. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a bit of a different kind of review, share for some educational tools that I recently picked up from a local library. I mentioned in one of my last videos that I wanted to, during this kind of Black History Month, I wanted to go deeper into historical, kind of subsets of stories within the continent. Um, so I kind of found two audiobooks that I'm going to be listening to for the next couple of weeks just to immerse myself in some historical information in regards to Moorish history, and then also some kind of information regarding our health system and how African Americans kind of shaped the medical world, so to speak. So both of these I picked up from a local library, and I do have my radio here that has a CD player just so that I can listen to all of these discs. So the first one here is a very well-known set of history in regards to the tales of Alhambra. So I'm going to be listening to these for the next couple of days. There are 7 discs within this one. And this one is by, or read by Ralph Kosham. And I'm going to read the back here just so I can give some information into what this is going to cover. So this one here is written in 1831, Washington Irving's dreamlike description of the Alhambra, the beautiful Moorish castle that defined the height of Moorish civilization, and of the surrounding territory of Granada remains one of the most entertaining travelogues ever written of this region in Spain. Enhanced here with exquisite Spanish guitar music, the narrative is a heady mix of historical fact, medieval myth, and mystery. Sensual descriptions and an appreciation for a civilization that valued beauty, philosophy, literature, science, and the arts on an equal level with warrior skills. Secret chambers, desperate battles, imprisoned princesses, palace ghosts, and fragrant gardens, described in a wistful and dreamlike eloquence, will transport listeners to a paradise of their own. So it'll just give some information into who Washington Irving was. So I'm definitely excited to get into this one. I've been doing a lot of historical studies into Moorish history, African American, history, and the Muslim Ummah, and just a lot of, really interesting historical facts that ought to be learned about, I guess I would say. So I'm going to put in the first disc and see how this one begins. And as I stated, it does have 7 discs, so I will be playing each one
Tales of the Alhambra
for the
by
next
Washington
couple of
Irving.
weeks.
The Journey.
So I'm definitely excited to get into this one. I'm not going to play any of the disc here, but I will be immersing myself in this history as well. And then I was excited to have found this one here about Henrietta Lacks. And this is a really interesting story that I really wanted to learn more about. This is the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks. And it's a really sad story, unfortunately. However, I'm going to read the back here. So this one talks about her name was Henrietta Lacks, but scientists knew her as Hella. She was a poor southern tobacco farmer whose cells became one of the most important tools in medicine. The first immortal human cells grown in culture, they are still alive today. HeLa cells were vital for developing the polio vaccine, uncovered secrets of cancer, viruses, and the atom bomb's effects, helped lead to important advances, and have been bought and sold by the billions. Yet, Henrietta Lacks remains virtually unknown. Now, Rebecca Skloot takes us on an extraordinary journey from the colored ward of Johns Hopkins Hospital in the 1950s to stark white laboratories with freezers full of HeLa cells. From Henrietta's hometown of Clover, Virginia, to East Baltimore today, where her children and grandchildren live. Henrietta's family did not learn of her immortality until more than 20 years after her death. And though the cells had launched a multi-million-dollar industry, her family never saw any of the profits. As Skloot so brilliantly shows, the story of the Lax family is inextricably connected to the dark history of experimentation on African Americans, the birth of bioethics, and the legal battles over whether we control the stuff we are made of. So I think this is a really sad story, but kind of another blueprint for the issues that African Americans, especially, us as women deal with in the medical field, people doing things against your will. They had no consent to have taken, this woman's DNA and her cells and all of these things for any reason. And I feel like that is just so disheartening to know that still to this day, they are still allowed to keep, these pieces of her and not allow her entire being to be at rest. So I'm definitely going to be getting into this one. This one has 10 discs. So I will be listening to this one for the entirety of this month. I definitely want to take my time with this one. I have, heard of this story, but I do like audio books more instead of, reading through books because I have so many books. I love to listen to books, occasionally. So I definitely want to get into this one because it is definitely a very um, disheartening story that is not very well talked about when it comes to the medical field in general. So that's all I wanted to do in this video is kind of share some of the historical books that I will be immersing myself in for this Black History Month. Like I said, going a little bit deeper back in history. With Henrietta Lacks, that is more of a local kind of history within, the United States. However, the Moorish history is more abroad. However, it definitely has a lot of ties to our people and their experiences, so on and so forth. So if you enjoyed this short video, please give it 2 thumbs up. And I hope that anyone who, comes across my channel knows that this channel is specifically for nurturing the experiences of Africans from all over the continent, whether you identify as an African, whether you are identified under your tribal group and name. I do my best to use different variations of words to group us into an understandable historical terminology so that our stories can be brought to the forefront in an understandable way. As I'm, on my journey with knowing myself as a Mende and sharing my experiences, this isn't a this isn't a place for any kind of separatist thinking. It's not a channel for religious hatred. I'm very much as I stated, a Muslim. However, that doesn't mean that I don't and cannot connect with other people outside of my religious beliefs. I don't approach my religion in a radical way. I'm not browbeating anyone into believing what I believe. I'm here to share and to enjoy the beauty of our ancestors and our histories. So I definitely would appreciate feedback if you have any questions or any suggestions for platforms and web bases where I can find, more history and, the more the merrier. So I definitely appreciate my new subscribers. Thank you so much for raising those numbers. I'm excited to see a lot of new people enjoying my content, and I will definitely keep these videos coming as things progress in this new year and I figure out, kind of how to make my channel more engaging for you all. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more DIYs, recipes, and reviews. Thank you so much for watching.